Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Lily. I am so happy you're here with me today. In today's video, I am going to do a junk journal with me layout. And this is what I created. It is so beautiful, so vibrant, so colorful. I used items from my everyday little junky bag that I keep. And I also used a few things from the Flow magazine. Can you spot which ones those are? I love how this layout turned out, and I even created a little flip out pocket. I used things that I had previously doodled on and die cut pieces from old scrapbooking kits, Happy Mail items. This layout was so fun to make. Can you believe one of these pages was completely white? It is so pretty. Are you guys ready to get started? Join me in this junk journal with me session, and I sure hope that it brings you inspiration and ideas so that you can continue to junk journal in your own personal junk journal, or if you haven't started, today would be a great day. Let's go over to the Crafty Loft. Let's go.
This is my beautiful current journal. I made this from a cereal box, covered it with beautiful Anna Griffin cardstock, and then my sister gifted me that beautiful charm on the front cover. I have an entire playlist showing you all of the junk journal layouts that I have created. This is the most recent one. I will have the playlist for you. It'll come up in the little tab up above, but I will also link all relevant videos in the description area below. All you have to do is open the description box, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you will find thumbnails for all of today's relevant videos. I keep all of my junky junk in this little Madewell bag, and it is overflowing. It is bursting at the seams, and so I need to get busy. I'm also going to use some fun cutouts or die cuts from the Flow magazine. I have been hoarding these magazines, but I think it's time for me to actually use all of the beautiful papers and die cuts that are in them. So I've only selected a few. And then I also was doodling on book page, and I wrote the word trust out. In fact, we are going to talk about trust and the meaning of trust. And it all started, or it was prompted by a doodle. This cute little flamingo was a gift card that my sister gave me for my 53rd birthday in 2022. And so it has been roaming around in my craft area. I did have it on display, but I am going to use it in today's layout. Also an envelope. My grandkids call me Mommy Lily. And so one of my grandbabies gifted me a gift card in that envelope. And then this came in Happy Mail from my California friend, Margie. She sent me some really, really cute Happy Mail. And then she made these faux envelope, wax envelope seals for me. And she knows how much I love little houses. So she stamped a cute little house design on each one of these. Thank you so much. I love them. I have been kind of hoarding these, but I thought it would be special for me to be able to use it in today's layout. I also have gift wrap and then just random junk. There's this tag here that came from packaging. I'm going to attempt at collaging it so that I can use it in today's layout. And then some beautiful little papers from the Flow magazine, and then also scraps of note paper and more doodles from book page. This is how I test out my markers to see if they're still working or not. I just doodle and draw on book pages. More cut aparts from the Flow magazine, and then just a random label. So a little bit of everything, a little bit of junk, a little bit of ephemera from the Flow magazine. I do have a few issues of the Flow magazine, and then I just got the most recent one over the weekend. Oh, I just love thumbing through those magazines, and I thought it would be fun to be able to use those little elements in my layouts, in my personal junk journaling. I do want a black background, so I am going to use this one right here because it kind of matches with the dress of this little lady here playing the guitar. So I think it will be perfect. I honestly didn't know what I was going to be doing or how this was going to play out. I knew what I wanted to work with. And so beforehand, I kind of went through all of my junky junk. But I honestly didn't know how it was all going to work together. And I love it because I'm able to take this on as a challenge. The entire process took me about 1 hour. I like to junk journal first thing in the morning. Well, it's part of my morning routine. And so with my cup of coffee and my journaling supplies, I got busy. It took me about an hour, but I edited down to about 30 minutes. I'm going to use some of this beautiful wrapping paper, and I'm going to glue it to cover the top of this tag, which would be perfect if it were the fall season. Then I would leave it as it is, but I do have an extra one in my junkie bin. So I simply glued the wrapping paper, and now I'm going to cut around the eyelets. And I'm just poking the hole where the eyelet holes were with the end of a paintbrush. So technical. And now I'm going to take a little craft knife, and I'm going to carefully cut around the metal eyelet because I do want that metal eyelet to show. And so I was just being very careful to cut around it. And at this point when I was working with it, I didn't know how I was going to use it in the layout, but you're going to see how it turns out. So cute. I knew that I wanted it to be a tab on the page. I just didn't know where or how, but it turns out really, really nice. The next step here is we are going to break a blank page. The best way to do this is to collage. I'm going to use scrappy papers from my junkie bag. This is part of a notepad, and I'm just going to glue it over the white side of the page and create a very easy collage. This will create more interest in the background and make it much more fun. And I'm also able to incorporate a lot of the colors that I'm going to be using with all of these little ephemera pieces. The pink paper also came from the Flow magazine. In the Flow magazine, there are several pages of lightweight design paper, and they are so, so pretty. And I am going to use this little scrap as part of the collage as well. I'm just playing around with the placement and the position of it. I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to use a piece in the upper right hand corner, and then I'm also going to place a piece in the lower left hand corner. And it just makes it look more cohesive. It just blends a little bit better this way. And they'll both be placed behind this little lady playing the guitar. I love that die cut. When I was flipping through the pages, I think this is what sold me on the magazine. I was at Barnes & Noble flipping through the magazines, and as I opened up the Flow magazine and I saw this lady with a guitar, I'm like, okay, sold. That's all I needed. That's all I needed to know to buy the magazine. I also picked up a couple of other magazines. I picked up Art Journaling magazine, which is one of my favorites. I just get so much inspiration from that magazine. And then I also picked up Daphne's Diary, and I have a few of those. I have used bits and pieces from those magazines in my Christmas journaling, but I've not really used much of it for my everyday general journaling. So it was fun to be able to kind of pull some pieces for today's layout. I love how colorful this layout is going to be. I am not shy when it comes to color, and I'm really loving the turquoise shades and the green and also the pops of pink in today's layout. This is a cute little postcard that also came from the Flow magazine. These can actually be mailed, but I'm using it as part of the collage, and I'm just going to glue it down. I'm using glue stick. Can you believe I cannot find my art glitter glue? have no idea where it is. I keep all of my supplies on my craft table. I have a basket or a two-tier tray on my craft table where I keep all of my go-to adhesives. And I could not find the glue. I had to pause the video for a while, for a few minutes. And I started rummaging through drawers and couldn't find it. I have no idea where it went. So I'll get to that another time. But I wonder if it fell. It must have fallen, maybe rolled off the table on the other end. I'll go back and search for it. But I'm using glue stick. And I think that because it has been so hot lately, the glue is really soft in the glue stick, which makes it very easy to use, but it also smushes. And it was kind of spewing off of the edges. And so there are a few die cut pieces that I glued where I got excess glue coming off the sides. Anyway, and I finally turned on the air conditioning. I researched on how to use the thermostat, and I set it, and it just feels so much better in the house. It's still much warmer in the upstairs because, you know, heat rises. But I'd rather be indoors at 78 degrees than outside where we're in the 90s, mid 90s. And it's dry. I'm in the state of Utah. And Utah is a dry state. It's like desert. No humidity at all. So if you ever visit Utah, make sure you pack some moisturizing lotion and chapstick or a lip balm. I kid you not, the moment, whether you fly in or you drive into the state, the moment you cross that state line, it's like all of the moisture just is depleted, sucked out of your skin. And yeah, it's super, super dry. Dry and hot in the summertime. Okay, here is my doodly word. The word is trust. And I was playing around with my markers, which I don't do very often, but I was making marker water. And I was going through several of my markers, and if any were dry, I gutted the insides of the marker to make marker water. If you would like to see how I make marker water and then use it like a faux watercolor, I will have that video for you up above. I doodled the word trust, and I really like how it turned out. I just kind of wrote it out in block letters, and then I colored all the way around. And I wasn't going to keep it, but I decided to throw it in my little junky bag. And as I was gathering my supplies to create today's layout, I thought, you know, today would be a great day to use this in my layout. That word has been at the top of my mind lately. And trust is, I read somewhere that trust is the glue of life. And because it is, like we're speaking in general trust, just trust in general, it's the most essential ingredient in life, trust. Because we have, in order for us to live and to live freely, we have to trust. For example, you go outside, you trust that whoever's driving will stay in their lane. You trust when you go shopping that when you use your card or you pay with cash that you are going to be charged the exact amount. So trust just in general is the key ingredient in life. But also in relationships, in faith, in leadership, there has to be trust. And in my personal opinion, when it comes to relationships, I think that trust is a greater compliment than being loved. That's a quote. I know that's a quote. I don't know who the author is, but it's something like, to be trusted is a greater compliment than being loved. If there is no trust, there is no love. They kind of go hand in hand. What I'm doing here on the screen is that glue was really mushy. And so this has never happened before. I think it's just because of the weather and the warmth. Plus I had the sun rays coming in from the window, and they were beaming right onto the area where I have my glues, and I think it just softened it and it just made it really squishy. Anyway, I am just randomly using all of these little bits and pieces into the layout. These are things that I've been wanting to use in my layouts for a long time, and it's just about time I add them. The flamingo I didn't want to glue down because it has that nice message that my sister wrote to me for my birthday, and so I'm just going to clip it onto that envelope that I received from, I believe it was my granddaughter Victoria. There was a birthday card in there, so I just created that as a flip out pocket. And now I am continuing to collage and create more interest on the left hand side of the page. I'm using the book page to kind of pick up some of that excess glue. It was just the strangest thing that it did this. It was just really, really soft, but it worked. I picked it up with the book page and everything is fine. And it dried. Once this glue stick dries, it doesn't stay tacky. So it works really well. So even if I got it all over the place, it dried and everything worked out really, really, really well. So trust. Trust is the word of the day, because even when I was Googling, not Googling, doodling on the book pages, usually my go-to word is love. Love and hello. Love, hello, and the word forever. Because I love the way they flow as I'm writing them. But as I grabbed my markers and I doodled onto the book page, trust was the go-to word right then and there. And I just think because it had just been in my head for a really long time. Let me know what you think. What do you think? Do you feel that trust is a greater compliment than being loved? They kind of go hand in hand. They really do. I don't think that you can have love if you don't have trust. It's the foundation of strong relationships, and not just personal relationships, but also working relationships. I was part of a partnership in California, and I teamed up with someone, and we created a brokerage. And I didn't know this person very well, but I trusted that our business venture was going to be successful. And I didn't, it was really hard to get to that point where you team up with someone and, you invest your knowledge, your time, your money into a corporation, trusting that it is going to work out. And it did at first. At first. You live and learn. It was a great experience for me, though. And anyway, I don't know why that came up, but that was then. We are now living in the now. I'm much more careful now with big decisions like that. That little music card on the left-hand side was also part of the Happy Mail that my friend Margie sent me. Her Happy Mail was so cute. I just loved everything. And I have kind of set that aside because everything she sent me was so, so cute. And so it's about time I start using it. One other thing I want to say about trust is how you also have to trust in yourself and believe in yourself. Trusting in yourself means that you are believing in your own judgment and your own abilities. For example, in today's layout, I had to trust the process. And that's the part of me trusting in myself. in my abilities and also in the decisions that I make, or we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have this channel if I did not trust in myself. Look, this is where I decided to place this tab. I had to cut it down because I didn't want to cover up too much of the word. And I really, really like how this turned out. I don't mind that things are kind of poking out from the top. And I'm just going to grab my office stapler and I'm going to attach it in place. And then I will go back and I will add a beautiful ribbon and tie it into a bow at the very top. I love how this is turning out because I am trusting the process. Many of you are not journaling in your junk journals. One is you don't trust yourself because you feel you're going to mess it up. You're not going to mess it up, okay? And then two, some of you have said, I can't. I'm more of a collector of journals and I don't really journal in them, which is fine. I do the same thing too. I have journals that I have purchased and just added to my collection that I will probably never journal in because they're more of a decorative element. But if you have a journal and you are just waiting for the right moment to journal in it, trust yourself in making the decision to start now and just start. Because once you get going, it's going to be so much easier instead of putting it off. Do you know what I mean? I added a few of these beautiful little faux wax seals in coordinating colors. I've had this little card. Today is going to be the best day ever. It came in an order that I placed from Sugar Boo and Company a couple years ago. That company has so much great stationery, and they sent me this little card as a freebie. And I've had it stapled to pages throughout this journal, and I think it's about time that I use it. I end up moving it again, but at the very end, I end up paper clipping it to a page so that it's not just random. I wanted to add Margie's little gift card and envelope to the right-hand side as a flip out. And I may just do that, but I didn't do it in today's video. I'm just going to clip it to my larger flip out pocket and it will live there. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to take some of this trim. And I believe this is trim that I picked up at Dollar Tree. It was kind of just a little stray piece of beautiful lace trim. And I thought I would add it to decorate the edge of the right-hand side of the page. Adding a little bit of this Fabri-Tac. It's really stringy, but I love how it is flowing right now because of the warm weather. I struggle with it in the colder months, but it's really nice to work with when it just flows so smoothly. I'm really loving how this page is turning out. I am a maximalist when it comes to junk journaling. I love layering and I love adding lots of different elements, stickers, and just all the little junky ephemera that I collect. Plus because my junky bag is overflowing, I need to get busy. I have committed to creating a junk journal with me weekly, one video a week. And I trust that I am going to stick to that commitment. And I am not putting it off anymore because I enjoy junk journaling. And even though I don't junk journal every single day, I enjoy the days that I do take the time to junk journal. Sometimes I just journal in my planner where I write things down. It's not like a formal journal, but I have my desk planner. I also have a notebook where I jot down notes and ideas for my YouTube videos and other content. But art journaling and junk journaling, where I get to use stickers and ephemera and junky bits, I do try to set time 1 or 2 times a week. And it'll be anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour. And I like to do it in the morning as I'm drinking my cup of coffee. My work schedule has been all over the place lately, and I've had to make some changes. I had my morning routine down, but because of changes in my work schedule in May that have kind of carried over into the month of June, I've had to make some adjustments. I used to read first thing in the morning with my first cup of coffee, and now I'm trying to find reading time sometime in the day. I can't read my books at night because I'll fall asleep. And right now I am reading The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. So that I highly recommend that book. I have recommended it to many, many people, and they all absolutely love it. And then I'm also going to start reading A Court of Thorns and Roses, which was recommended by my youngest daughter. And so I'm trying to find, or trying to schedule it so that I read first thing in the morning with my coffee. That's what I'm trying to do. And also, I like going for a walk, but I find myself using my treadmill a lot more lately. And I used to do that first thing in the morning, but now I'm doing it at 9 o'clock at night. So I'm making changes and just moving things around, moving things around. It's really hard because I had a set schedule. I had my morning routine, I had my evening routine, and then all the other things in between. And so things have had to shift, and that's okay. I'm just going with the flow and trying to make the best of my day. I really, really like these stickers. These are really old stickers. They're really thin, almost like washi. And I love the sentiment on the left-hand side. It reads, "I'm not perfect, but there are perfect..." What does it say? It reads, "My life isn't perfect, but it does have perfect moments." Isn't that such a great sentiment? And the one that I glued on the right-hand page in the upper left-hand corner, that one reads, "Seasons change, and so do we. And it's okay. We evolve. And we become more sure of ourselves. We know what we like. We know what we don't like. We know what we want to do as we get older. And so seasons change, and so do we. And we just have to, accept ourselves. Be kind to ourselves." I love that round die cut on the right-hand side, which reads, "Be kind." It almost has stitching, which looks like a baseball, but it's not a baseball. It's just little marks. But right in the center, it says, "Be kind." The stickers that I'm using are random stickers that I've been collecting, for the past 10, 15 years. And I keep them in a small acrylic drawer. So whenever I feel like I want to journal with these sticker sentiments, I just grab my little acrylic drawer. And right now I am just choosing sentiments that I feel coordinate really well with the theme of the layout. I added the love sticker at the very top, and then the little blue sticker just under the word trust reads, "Be honest." And now I'm going to add one that reads, "Be happy." Love, trust, be honest, be happy, be kind. These are all foundations of a happy life. Happy life. And that's what it's all about. Being happy and living your best life. We're going to have obstacles, and there are things that are going to cause hiccups. But if we approach those things with a positive mindset, we know that we'll be able to overcome whatever obstacle, whatever challenge comes our way. We have to trust the process. And then that's when faith comes in as well. Trust in your faith. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, let me talk about this little sticker, which is not really a sticker. It is the negative of a sticker. I have already used the sticker, but I kept the sheet of the negatives because I knew that I would eventually use these like little picture frames. I know, it is the most random, but you know how I talked about how I see potential in a lot of little junky junk? This is one of these moments. And within that little golden frame, I am going to just jot down the date that I created this junk journal layout, which was Tuesday, June 17th, 2025. I can't tell you how much I absolutely love how this layout turned out. Thank you so much for being here with me, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to express myself in a creative way. You guys are awesome. I do have a slideshow for you at the very end so that you can see pictures up close of the layout pages. Please let me know what you think, and let me know if you are going to begin to journal in your junk journal. You guys are awesome. I will see you next time. You take care. Bye.